In the peaceful village of Adake, two girls were born just days apart, Faith and Favour. Their mothers, childhood friends themselves, passed on the same closeness to their daughters. Growing up, the two girls were nearly inseparable, like the morning sun and its shadow. What one lacked, the other had. Where Favour was bold, outspoken, and unafraid to demand attention, Faith was quiet, reflective, and deeply nurturing. They lived simple lives, but their dreams were not confined to the village. As children, they often sat under the old mango tree behind the church, whispering about city life, flashing lights, glass buildings, and love that felt like music. They made promises, vows of friendship that would stand the test of time. In school, they stood out together. Favour's charisma made her popular among students and teachers alike. She had a way of commanding any room she walked into. Faith, on the other hand, quietly built her reputation as one of the brightest minds in their class. She was the one classmates turned to for help with homework, and the one teachers trusted to supervise in their absence. By the time they reached secondary school, the contrast between them became clearer, yet so did their bond. They navigated everything together: heartbreaks, academic hurdles, and moments of doubt. They shared secrets, food, clothes, and dreams. Their ultimate dream was to leave the village for university. When the results came in and both were accepted into the same institution in Lagos, they cried tears of joy. Destiny, it seemed, had not forgotten them. University life was a different world. Favour immediately gravitated toward the limelight, joining beauty pageants, becoming a member of the student union, and attending every major event. Faith was more reserved, investing her time in her studies and volunteering at the school's library. Their shared hostel room, tiny and often messy, became a sacred space. It was there that Favour would rant about men and missed opportunities, and Faith would calmly advise, comfort, and listen. "I'm going to marry a rich man," Favour would say, pouting in the mirror while applying lip gloss. "A man who flies to Dubai just for lunch." Faith would chuckle, as buried in a textbook. "I just want someone who respects me. Someone who values peace." Despite their differences, the bond remained. After graduation, they celebrated with their families and were posted to the same state for their NYSC. They rented a modest two-bedroom flat and resumed their lives of laughter, budgeting, and hope. One evening, after a long day at their places of primary assignment, they met David. He was tall, soft-spoken, and appeared modestly dressed. He approached with a shy smile and introduced himself. His gaze lingered more on Favour. "I've seen you ladies around. I just wanted to say hello. I'd love to get to know you." Favour scanned him from head to toe. His slippers were worn, and his shirt a little faded. "I'm not interested," she said sharply, dragging Faith away. When they turned the corner, she burst into laughter. "Can you imagine that one? He looks like he sells recharge cards under the bridge." Faith didn't laugh. Something about David's eyes had struck a chord in her. A week later, David approached Faith alone. "I meant what I said," he told her gently. "I'd like to get to know you, not your friend." Faith, hesitant at first, agreed to a lunch that turned into several more. She discovered that David was no ordinary man. His appearance was misleading. He owned multiple businesses and had made a fortune investing in tech and logistics. He lived simply, by choice, avoiding women who only saw his money. He was drawn to Faith's humility, her deep thoughtfulness, and quiet intelligence. After a year of courtship, he proposed. Faith said yes. When Faith told Favour, she expected joy. Instead, she received disbelief. "Wait, you mean that same guy?" Favour asked, eyes wide. "That riffraff I dismissed?" Faith nodded. "He's not who you thought he was." Favour smiled tightly. "Wow. You got lucky." But deep inside, her jealousy began to brew. That life, luxury, a loving husband, a peaceful home, it should have been hers. She couldn't understand how fate had landed it. After their wedding, Faith and David moved into a stunning mansion on the city's outskirts. 11 months later, she gave birth to their first child, a boy named Victor. 2 years after that, she had a daughter, Zara. Favour visited often, smiling and cooing over the children. She brought gifts and laughter, always offering to babysit. Faith, ever trusting, welcomed her. Whenever Faith had business trips, her catering business was booming. She left the children in Favour's care, believing her friend to be an angel. 3 years later, tragedy struck. Faith fell mysteriously ill. What started as dizziness became persistent vomiting, then weakness and hallucinations. Doctors were baffled. Favour offered to move in and care for the children while David took Faith to different hospitals across the country. Unbeknownst to everyone, Favour was slowly poisoning her, with herbs she claimed would help her recover. Faith's condition worsened. One rainy night, she looked into Favour's eyes and whispered, "I trust you with my children." Favour kissed her forehead, tears falling freely. But they were tears of guilt and victory. Faith died 2 days later. David was devastated. He couldn't function. The loss of his wife was like a storm that tore through his heart. In the months that followed, Favour stayed by his side, cooking, cleaning, playing with the children, helping Victor with homework, singing lullabies to Zora. People began to whisper, "She's so kind. She must really love that family." After nearly a year, David, still broken but trying to hold his home together, began to consider Favour differently. He thought maybe, just maybe, it wouldn't be the worst thing for the kids to have a maternal figure they already knew. When he proposed the relationship, Favour acted shocked. "I never thought you'd see me that way," she whispered, wiping fake tears. They started dating. She moved in permanently. Victor was 8, but very smart. He noticed everything, how his sister's favorite toys disappeared, how Favour would lock them in their rooms when David was away, how she no longer smiled at them unless their father was watching. Worse still, she began poisoning Zora's food and threatening Victor when he asked questions. "You're too nosy," she hissed one night. "Just like your mother." That night, Victor remembered something. His mother had a tiny camera she once used to record videos for her catering channel. He searched her old cabinet, found it, and began recording Favour secretly. He captured it all, her screaming, slapping Zora, insulting their mother's memory, even boasting on the phone that she eliminated the only obstacle standing between her and a billionaire life. Then came the confession. In a moment of rage, Favour slapped Victor and shouted, "Yes, I killed her. I poisoned your mother slowly until she begged for death. And if you don't shut up, I'll kill you too." It was all recorded. The next day, Victor showed the footage to his uncle, Faith's brother. Within hours, the police were called. A full family meeting was held. When the footage played, there was shock, then silence. David wept. He had allowed the enemy into his home, into his children's lives. Favour was arrested that evening. 2 months later, she was charged for murder and she was sentenced to life imprisonment. Years passed. David never remarried. He devoted his life to raising Victor and Zora, ensuring they had the peace, love, and protection their mother had dreamed of. Victor, inspired by all he had endured, became a human rights lawyer. The story of Faith and Favour lived on in whispers across the community, a tale of friendship twisted by envy, love betrayed by ambition, and a child's bravery that brought truth to light. And in David's garden, beneath a quiet tree, a plaque stood. In memory of Faith whose name she lived by. Kindly share, comment and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Bye.